something, go, that's interesting, got to follow up, put it in the chat as well so everybody else can see that you're going on the journey with me. So let's get into a bit more deep diving into what I was sharing earlier. So when it comes to these businesses, what do they all have in common? Well, one of the things that you mentioned in the chat, someone mentioned, was governance. So for the last 18, 19 years, I've been obsessed with doing my research with family businesses and understanding what are all the different things that they've got in place. And us as a company, our main group company is called RTS Global Partners. And this is our published framework. We've had people like Dubai Financial Markets use this. It's been published in many reports. We've had other consulting firms refer to our governance model. But I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to walk you through as many of these as I can. But these are 30 sort of potential plus areas with 3 pillars: governance A, B, C. They're not necessarily in priority order because it depends on the family business, what stages are they, first generation, second generation, fourth, fifth generation. Each family business will have different needs or what it needs to implement. So let's start with governance A. And as I'm educating you on what these different things are, I'd like you to grab your piece of paper and a pen or take a screenshot of this, even though we're going to send you the deck afterwards. And just make a small little note on, how well are you doing in some of these areas right now? Where are the biggest gaps? What do you need to implement right now that can really support the family business? So the first one, which I believe is the bedrock, it is really the foundation. It's a bit like building a skyscraper. You can have a great architect give you the design, tell you what it's going to look like, but ultimately that skyscraper is not going to get built unless you've got bedrock, unless you've got foundation. So even if you decide to change the interiors, using that analogy, you get bored with the interior, another family unit moves into floor 16 and wants to change everything, you'll change it, but within those boundaries. But what won't change is the foundation, unless you decide you're going to take the entire skyscraper down and really build a brand new one. So I'm using that analogy. I hope that makes sense, which is the family constitution really is the foundation. So let me ask you, I'm not going to give you all the answers, okay? This is going to be interactive. In the chat, I want you to write down, and for those of you who've got your constitution, you could come in from a different angle, which is, what are the benefits of the constitution? For those of you who have no idea what a constitution is, maybe I'd like you to reply, what do you think a constitution is? What is this? Some people refer to it as a family charter. Okay, in the chat, what is a family constitution? What is its purpose? What is it used for? I mean, I'd like to get your comments. And let me pull up my chat again so I can see what's coming in. Okay, and let me know your version of what is a family constitution. Some of you may have been on other courses before, listened to other lecturers. But what is the purpose? What's the point of doing this constitution? I mean, I've had families I've worked with that have said to me, Reg, we don't need to have this document. Why do we need a document? We've been going for 2 generations. We've had no document. Why do we need this document? Good question. What do you think? What is the purpose of having a constitution? Okay, don't be shy. Put your thoughts in. There's no right or wrong answer. And I just want to set some ground rules here. Whatever we put in the chat, okay, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, it's just your opinion, and we can all pick up things from that. Now, I noticed, by the way, sometimes on these online things, the chats take a bit of time to come through. So even though I'm asking you questions, it does take a bit of time for some of your comments to come through, probably typing right now and haven't hit that button. So let me share with you, essentially, in summary, and let's see if someone else mentions it in the chat. The family constitution is essentially a set of guiding principles. Okay, I'm using those words, guiding principles. Think of it like a blueprint. Think of it like a document that can help you with navigation for present and future. It will, in detail, outline what the philosophy is of the family. What are our values? What's important to us? Someone's already come in here, well done. You know, family constitution's main person, I guess, is to professionalize the family business in particular? Yes and no. A constitution in its own right is not going to professionalize the family business, but I'm glad you brought that up. You know, professionalizing the family business may come in some of the other pillars with governance B and C, will definitely professionalize the family business. But again, we're talking bedrock, we're talking foundation before we grow. So we're talking guiding principles, okay? Someone dropped that in the chat, okay? Maybe even my team who are listening, we've got some of our partners on here, our corporate team. If Rio's in there, Sarita's in there, Ahmed's in there, you know, if any of you want to summarize anything I'm saying, drop it in the chat and it will help everybody, because I can't really type and speak at the same time. But guiding principles. So one of my favorite things with the Constitution, which we're going to talk about in a future module, one of my favorite things is getting the history of the family, stories, sitting down with the patriarch, sitting down with the chairman, sitting down with a spouse, sitting down with the next generation, digging up files, finding old photos, asking questions, and basically, you know, capturing all of that and capturing the history of the family. For me, I love that part of the process. And I have to ask you, with your family, do you have your history documented? Do you have your history documented anywhere? If not, one of the tips and take-home value from today's session, even though we're going to build a constitution later, or the framework for a constitution, is start writing your history down. I call it a vomit copy. A vomit copy is basically you blurt it out, you interview people in the family, just get it all out in raw, you know, format. It's not edited at this stage, and just grab it, put it on a piece of paper. Then later start chunking it, putting it into the right bits, look at what year that was, start building out the history a little bit more. I've got one client right now who went through this process, and we had so much fun with it that the father is now going to be publishing a book on the entire history of the family. It will be self-published book, okay? And that book will be used for the family initially, but he's also then going to get a few copies printed that he'd like to give out as a gift. And the beautiful thing about this is, long after the patriarch has gone, and that senior member of the family saying, look, I want to do this while I'm still alive. I want to be able to share these stories. And if we can capture it in the book, I know that that will be priceless in the future, where my great-grandson, my great-granddaughter can be picking up that book in the future and reading up on the history. The same way I was showing you the websites of some of those families that have been around for over 1,000 years. So is that a good idea? Give me a thumbs up. You know, are you interested in making that happen? Get to work on that after today's session, and start gathering as much data as you can, capture as many stories as you can from every family member, especially the seniors, you know, the grandparents. They're great. They've got so many great stories, but some of those have not been shared with the entire family. So family constitution, family history, capture your values, guiding principles, a roadmap of some type, a bit like a blueprint. And also there's a vision there. Okay, there's a potentially 100-year vision